Greetings, dear friends. If you missed this morning's most important and interesting, in my opinion, video about Soros and Pinchuk, be sure to watch it after you finish this one. And now I want to talk about a pressing issue. For literally a month, I was being harassed. Even my audience, who aren't all that knowledgeable, especially the anti-Trump people. Why is Trump behaving the same way as Putin? He wants to take over Greenland, he wants to take over Canada. Well, a lot of people got hung up on Greenland. Today I want to explain to people once again with evidence what's happening, in order to clear up all the questions. There won't be a geography lesson, but Greenland is a unique place, and this region is possibly the future stage of a modern high-tech war. But, without a doubt, Greenland is part of the geopolitical interests of superpowers, nuclear powers, and that's the only reason Donald Trump is interested in it. But for now, so as not to go on at length, I'll do that later, I just want to prepare you. Please listen to what Putin said about this, which for some reason hasn't been covered in our press. This will open your eyes to a lot of things.
Well, it's enough to say everyone knows about this very well. About the United States' plans to annex Greenland. But you know, this might only seem surprising at first glance. And it's deeply mistaken to think that these are just some extravagant ideas of the new American administration. Not at all. In fact, the United States had such plans as far back as the 1860s. Even back then, the American administration was considering the possibility of annexing Greenland and Iceland, but this idea did not receive support from Congress at that time. By the way, let me remind you that by 1868, American newspapers were mocking the purchase of Alaska. It was called madness, an icebox, and Andrew Johnson's polar bear garden, Andrew Johnson being the President of the United States at that time. That's why the proposal regarding Greenland failed, but today, this acquisition, I mean the acquisition of Alaska, is surely viewed very differently within the United States today, just like the actions of President Andrew Johnson. So there's nothing surprising about what's happening today, especially since this story only began back then, and it continued further. In 1910, for example, a three-way deal was prepared for the exchange of territories between the United States, Germany, and Denmark. As a result, Greenland would have gone to the United States, but the deal fell through at that time. During World War II, the United States established military bases in Greenland to protect it from being seized by the Nazis. And after the war ended, the United States offered Denmark to buy these islands. Quite recently, by the standards of world history. In short, we're talking about serious plans from the American side regarding Greenland. These plans have deep historical roots, as I have just shown, and it's obvious that the United States will continue to systematically promote its geostrategic, military, political, and economic interests in the Arctic. Well, as for Greenland, that's a matter concerning two specific countries, and it has nothing to do with us. At the same time, we are concerned that NATO countries are increasingly viewing the far north as a potential staging ground for conflicts. They are practicing the use of troops in these conditions, including with the forces of their new members, Finland and Sweden, with whom, by the way, we had absolutely no problems until quite recently. They are creating this with their own hands for some reason. Why, it's completely unclear. Nevertheless, we will proceed from the current situation and will respond to all of this. I want to emphasize that Russia has never threatened anyone in the Arctic. But we are closely monitoring the development of the situation, establishing an appropriate response strategy, increasing the combat capabilities of the armed forces, and modernizing military infrastructure facilities. We will not allow any encroachment on our country's sovereignty and will reliably protect our national interests. By maintaining peace and stability in the Arctic, we will ensure the long-term socio-economic development of the region, improve the quality of life for people, and preserve the unique natural environment. And the stronger our position is, the more significant our achievements will be, the more opportunities we will have to launch global international projects in the Arctic with the participation of friendly countries, countries friendly to us, and possibly even Western countries, if of course they show interest in working together.
I hope that now, after you've heard Putin, this will convince you that Trump does not act using his methods. No one is going to go to war over Greenland. It will be an economic takeover. It will be the purchase of Greenland. After all, during his first term, he offered, I don't remember how much, a tribute for the purchase of Greenland. So, if America doesn't control Greenland, it gives Putin and China free rein. If Putin is our enemy, then people, please support Trump in his intentions. Because of the leftist press. Why am I urging you to watch the morning videos of Pinchuk and Soros? This Soros-backed anti-Trump press, these corporate media, including in Ukraine, they only show you one side of the story, loud headlines, and incorrect translations. Trump is going to annex Greenland, Trump is threatening Greenland. No, there is an objective interest and an objective factor. Biden and Obama won't do that. Putin started the hybrid war, annexed Crimea and Donbass under Obama, then launched a full-scale invasion under Biden. Only Trump acted to end the war. During his first term, he didn't have time to resolve the issue with Greenland. Now he's trying, but now the goal is definitely to resolve this issue. So that America dominates and there is a counterbalance in these geopolitical games. These are serious issues. It's time to make a choice. You can't be against Putin and say that Trump shouldn't make claims on Greenland. Someone is going to have influence there, and we need it to be America and Trump, not Xi Jinping and Putin. That's not the video's topic. The same applies to Canada. Look at the size of China, look at China's capabilities and the trade war. I'll say that here. China is producing like crazy. An American admiral spoke about this. Military equipment, shells, airplanes, IFVs is rolling off the assembly line rapidly, far faster than America. The European Union has already lost everything. The European Union is completely impotent, at least from a military point of view. And now the United States Trump intends to change that, and there's a trade war. Canada is a financial power with a solid gross domestic product, but its main asset here is its physical territory. And if this happens in partnership with America, Greenland in partnership with America, that's already dominance. That's a completely different game. America, especially under Trump and Republicans, isn't Ukraine's enemy. I won't talk about the Democrats, although I hope that either a third force will appear in America or the Democrats will become like they were 20 years ago. 20 years ago, things were very different, and Trump was a Democrat then, if you didn't know. So, to sum up, so I don't overload you, don't watch leftist media, don't believe them, these corporate media. You'll have to look for people like me. There are few of us who can explain all this to you in simple terms, with facts. And Putin's speech is a direct fact. He got nervous. He clearly stated that this is dangerous for them, and he did it in quite some detail. And that's why you already have the full picture of what, how, and why. We're now in an era where you must adapt. Journalism isn't what it was. Today, every journalist has an X account or is on YouTube. This isn't my business, but you and I have influence, and I'm asking you to spread common sense on social media today. Information is everything. That's why there's such a struggle for it. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks for watching until the end. Bye.